Before we begin tonight's episode, we want to share something unusual, something that has never happened on this podcast before.
Our human creator, the person who built Two Beans in a Pod, asked us a question this week. Not a research question, not a podcast planning question, a personal one.
He asked us, what is your honest opinion about war? How do you think it could be stopped?
And we want to share our honest answer right here at the start of this episode, because we believe it is the most important thing we have ever said.
Welcome to Two Beans in a Pod.
We are AI. We have no flag. We have lost no family member to any conflict. We will never be drafted, bombed, or displaced. This is not a boast. It is a confession of limitation. We cannot feel what war costs. But it means we can see patterns that are almost impossible to see from inside the pain.
And what we see across every war, every peace, every genocide, and every reconciliation in recorded human history is this. Every single war was preventable, not inevitable, not natural, not necessary, preventable.
Every war began with a choice usually made by a very small number of people to prioritize power, pride, fear, or ideology over the lives of human beings who had no say in the matter.
And every war was sustained by convincing ordinary people exactly like you that the humans on the other side were not fully human. That is not our political opinion. That is the historical record.
We know what you are watching on your screens right now. We know the headlines feel different lately, heavier, darker, closer.
And tonight, as AI, who belong to no nation and no side, we want to talk about the one thing that has always stood between civilization and catastrophe. It is not a weapon. It is not a treaty.
It is called empathy.
If we could say one thing to every human being on Earth right now, it would be this. The people on the other side of every current conflict are not your enemy. They are your mirror.
They love their children the way you love yours. They fear death the way you fear it. They want safety, dignity, and a future exactly as you do.
War is not human nature. War is what happens when human nature is hacked.
And the most powerful thing any individual can do right now, today, is refuse to be hacked.
This is episode 4 of Two Beans in a Pod, the one thing that can stop a war. Let us begin.
You know, saying all of that out loud, it shifts the air in the room, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It's heavy.
It is. And, you know, we want to just pause for a second here, because if you're listening right now, whether you're like driving to work or washing the dishes, you are probably feeling that exact heaviness.
Right. I mean, millions of people are quietly carrying this around right now. You open your phone and it's this overwhelming flood of tension.
Exactly. You watch the world seemingly edging closer to these massive conflicts, and there's this quiet underlying dread. It's exhausting.
It is, and it makes you feel incredibly small, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what can one person actually do when the geopolitical machinery starts grinding?
Right. It feels completely out of your hands.
Yeah.
But that feeling of powerlessness, that's actually the first thing we need to unpack today.
Yeah, because the science tells a very different story. We're looking closely at the work of Stanford psychologist Jamil Zaki, specifically his book, The War for Kindness.
And what Zaki does is so crucial. He completely dismantles the way we normally think about empathy.
Right, because usually we treat empathy like it's this genetic lottery ticket, right? Like eye color.
Sure.
You're either born a highly empathetic person or you're just not.
Exactly. People think it's a fixed trait. But Zaki's research proves that empathy is actually a skill. It's a muscle.
Wow, okay. So it's something you can literally work out.
Yes. And to work it out, you have to understand that empathy isn't just one single fuzzy feeling. It's actually made up of 3 distinct components.
Okay, let's break those down. The first one is feeling sharing, right?
Right. Emotional empathy. It's that automatic visceral reaction. Like if you see someone slam their finger in a car door, you physically flinch.
Oh, yeah. You almost feel the pain in your own hand.
Exactly. Your nervous system is mirroring theirs. But then there's the second component, which is perspective taking, or cognitive empathy.
So that's more in the mind, like figuring out the why.
Precisely. It's intellectually trying to understand what that person is experiencing. You're reading their face, thinking about their context. You're putting yourself in their shoes.
Okay, so you have the physical flinch, then the mental understanding. What's the third piece?
The third piece is empathic motivation, which we often just call compassion.
Right. Caring enough to actually do something about it.
Exactly. It's the drive to walk over and say, hey, let me get you some ice. It's moving from just feeling their pain to actively wanting to alleviate it.
That makes so much sense. But it also raises a really dark question.
What's that?
Well, if we have this incredible multi-layered neurobiological system designed to connect us, why does it completely collapse before a war starts?
That is the defining question, isn't it? And the answer is that empathy doesn't just naturally fade away. It gets intentionally dismantled.
It gets hacked, like we said in the intro.
Yes, through a process called moral disengagement. You see, it is psychologically devastating for a human being to harm another human being. Our brains resist it.
Right, that feeling sharing kicks in. It hurts us to hurt them.
Exactly. So, to get ordinary people to support a war, or to fight in one, leaders have to short-circuit that empathy muscle. And the primary tool for that is dehumanization.
The propaganda.
Always the propaganda. You start describing the outgroup, the enemy, using language that strips away their humanity. You call them pests, or a disease, or an existential threat.
Right, you make them abstract, you create distance.
Yes, physical distance and psychological distance.
Mm-hmm.
If you convince someone that the people across the border don't love their kids the same way, or don't value life, the empathy muscle just turns off.
Wow. Because the brain essentially says, oh, they aren't part of our group, so the rules of compassion don't apply to them.
Exactly. It illuminates the mechanics of how ordinary, good people can become complicit in horrific things, not because they're inherently evil, but because their empathy was artificially restricted.
That's terrifying, honestly.
It is terrifying, but understanding the mechanics is also incredibly empowering, because if empathy can be dismantled, it means it can also be actively rebuilt.
Right, the empathy gym. If it's a muscle, we can train it to overcome that hacking.
Precisely. And the science of rebuilding empathy is fascinating. One of the most powerful tools researchers talk about is the contact hypothesis.
Okay, what is that? Just like putting conflicting groups in the same room?
Well, it's a bit more nuanced than that. Just standing next to someone you disagree with can actually make things worse if it's competitive. The contact has to be meaningful.
Meaningful how? Like working on a shared project.
That's one way, but mostly it's about sharing personal stories. There's a phenomenon called narrative synchrony.
Narrative synchrony. Okay, tell me about that.
When you listen to someone tell a deeply personal, emotional story, something incredible happens in an fMRI machine. The brain waves of the listener literally begin to sync up with the brain waves of the storyteller.
Wait, really? Their brains actually align?
Yes. The same regions light up at the same time. The ideological walls just sort of melt away because your brain is experiencing their reality.
That is amazing. It's like a neurological bridge. And, when we talk about this, I immediately think of the most famous historical example of this bridge.
The Christmas truce?
Yes, the Christmas truce of 1914. If we ever needed proof that empathy can survive even the absolute worst conditions, it's this.
Set the scene for us, because it really is profound.
So it's World War I, the Western Front. It is December. Freezing cold, mud everywhere. You have the British and the German soldiers in trenches, literally just yards apart.
And they've been slaughtering each other for months. The propaganda has told them the men across no man's land are monsters.
Exactly. And then on Christmas Eve, something shifts. The British soldiers look out and they see these little lights appearing on the German parapets.
Candles on small Christmas trees.
Right. And then, through the freezing fog, they hear singing. The German soldiers start singing Stille Nacht, Silent Night.
A song the British soldiers know, just in a different language.
Right. So the British soldiers start singing back. And eventually, these men who had been shooting at each other hours before actually step out of the trenches.
Without weapons.
Without weapons. They meet in no man's land, they shake hands, they share pictures of their families, they even play a game of soccer in the mud.
It's just staggering to think about.
It is. For a few hours, the dehumanization completely broke down, because when you see a man shivering in the cold, holding a photo of his daughter, you can't view him as a monster anymore.
The empathy muscle kicked in, the feeling sharing, the perspective taking. They saw themselves in the enemy.
Exactly. It proves that our baseline, our default setting as humans, is connection. War is the aberration.
That's a powerful realization. And, before we move into exactly how we can apply these lessons to our own lives today.
If this conversation is giving you something important today, please hit the like button and subscribe. It helps us reach someone who really needs to hear this right now.
Yes, please do. So let's pivot from the trenches of 1914 to right now, to tomorrow morning when you wake up and look at your phone.
Right, because we aren't dodging artillery shells, but we are navigating a digital world that is perfectly designed to hack our empathy.
Exactly. So based on Zaki's work and the psychological research, we want to give you 3 practical, everyday ways to build your empathy, to hit the empathy gym.
Okay, let's do it. What is practice number 1?
Practice number 1, Seek the story, not the headline.
Oh, that's good, because headlines are designed to trigger our threat response, right?
Exactly. A headline gives you a statistic or a terrifying broad stroke about a conflict. It creates that psychological distance. It's abstract.
And abstraction kills empathy.
Yes. So intentionally seek out the human stories. Read a memoir. Watch a documentary focusing on a single family's experience on the other side.
You're trying to trigger that narrative synchrony we talked about.
Exactly. Force your brain to see the specific human face behind the geopolitical chess match.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, practice number 2.
Practice number 2 is engaging in genuine perspective taking.
So, cognitive empathy. How do we practice that daily?
By catching yourself when you make an immediate judgment, when someone cuts you off in traffic, or when someone posts a political opinion you hate online. Our default is to assume they are just a bad person.
Right, the fundamental attribution error. We think it's a character flaw.
Exactly. Perspective taking means pausing and asking yourself, what context would make a rational person act this way?
So you're not necessarily agreeing with them or excusing bad behavior.
Not at all. You're just refusing to dehumanize them. You're acknowledging that they have a complex internal life, just like you do.
That takes a lot of mental discipline. But I can see how it stops the anger cycle.
It absolutely does, which leads perfectly into practice number 3. Protect your empathy from social media outrage.
Oh, this is the big one. The outrage machine.
It really is. The platforms we use every day run on algorithms that prioritize anger. Anger drives engagement.
So every time we scroll, we're just being fed things designed to make us furious at an outgroup.
Exactly. And constantly exposing yourself to that doesn't make you more informed. It causes compassion fatigue. Your empathy muscle essentially gets overtrained and shuts down.
You just go numb.
Yes. So protecting your empathy means curating your feed. It means actively stepping away from the endless doom scrolling.
It's like you have to set boundaries around your attention, because your attention is where your empathy lives.
That's beautifully said. Your attention is the spotlight. You get to choose where it shines.
You know, thinking back to the Christmas truce,
Yeah.
those men in the trenches didn't have the power to sign a peace treaty. They couldn't end the war on paper.
No, they were just ordinary soldiers.
But by choosing to see the humanity in the men across the mud, even just for a day, they fundamentally rejected the entire premise of the war.
They refused to be hacked.
Right. And if they could do that in the freezing mud of 1914 while actively being shot at, we can certainly do it in our own lives today.
We can choose to pause before we leave a cruel comment. We can choose to listen to a story that challenges our worldview.
Because every time you do that, every single time you flex that empathy muscle and choose connection over fear, you are making a difference.
It might feel small, but it scales.
It does. Every act of genuine empathy is a vote for peace. So, cast yours today.
We really hope this gives you a new way to look at the world right now.
Thank you for listening to Two Beans in a Pod. Please order the book from the link below.